Hi there, just before we start the video, I'd just like to remind you that I have an email subscription list. You can find the URL for the list in the description for this video, or you can find it on my websites, russleach.com, comicbookblackbelt.com, or onlydeathcansavus.com. That's the name of the book, Only Death Can Save Us. I won't be filling your inbox up. It'll just be short bits of information about the book or things that are going on the channel. The book is a cosmic Bronze Age inspired journey. That's art and story. So if you like the way comics used to be, hopefully you'll really like this book. So that's it for now. Let's get on with the video. Hi there, quick notice before we start. If you've seen the page breakdown for issue 11 of Ben 10, the video I recently uploaded, don't watch this video. I just wanted to re-upload what I'd said, the commentary on that video, with a different title so that I could reach other people. If you have not watched that video, then stick around and watch the rest of this video. Hi there, welcome back to the dojo. This is Comic Book Black Belt, and this is a video in the series for my Ben 10 series, where I go through some of the production aspects of how I put together the Ben 10 comic strips for the Ben 10 magazine, which was published in the UK by Panini for Cartoon Network. Couple of things to start off, bit of house cleaning. I've had a couple of comments from subscribers. Thank you so much for leaving feedback. The music on my some of my videos is a little distracting, so seeing as I'm doing a lot more commentary now and I'm staying for the video, I was a little camera shy when I started the channel and just wanted to show the artwork basically. But now I'm doing more commentary. I'll be cutting the music out starting with this video. So thanks very much for that feedback, everybody. But also some much more encouraging feedback from everyone. Just commenting, saying how much they love the artwork, how much they like the discussion that hopefully I'm building with the channel. So thanks very much for the feedback, everybody, and the kind comments. I'm going to be commenting obviously over the top of this video. Please excuse if I cough occasionally because my throat is terrible at the moment. But I wanted to get a video out today because I want to obviously keep putting up content on the channel and making sure it's a worthwhile visit. So here we go. I'll start off. This is Ben 10 issue 11, and as you can see, what I'm going to talk about with these is pretty much what I've done so far with all the whole series, is show you how I've put together my process and how I've ratified the process and made it that much slicker. What you just saw there was actually colour artwork that I'd done in previous episodes, previous issues of the magazine. So where I've spoken about things like how I've rationalised the layer process by putting the coloured figures in front of the coloured backgrounds, dropping them on in a kind of an animation process way. This is more about shortcuts, I suppose. How I can go back and pick out stuff from previous issues where they might work in the current issue. So as I'm always banging on about being able to draw pretty much anything as a comic strip artist, so that you can effectively draw any story from any position and put any person or anything in it. Obviously you need reference and to get things right and to make things look right as well, and plenty of practice in the real world, so figure drawing, just going out and drawing still life and what have you. But having 3D models for cars or buildings or whatever, that's all a great thing. And if you want to use 3D models, I've mentioned this in another video, that's okay. But being able to have that flow with comic strip is very important. But put that aside and add to the other aspects of what I've spoken about with producing comics, in the timelines, deadlines, getting things done, making things as simple and as easy as a process as possible, as well as making it a quality process. There's nothing wrong with going back to, especially in a situation like this with the way that the artwork is, very stylized, very cartoony. There's nothing wrong with going back to older issues, picking out work that you've already done and saying, right, well that fits. I've produced a page that works in a certain way, and the previous figures I've done, although not right because they're not the right resolution and not the right size or whatever, but they're the right position, or they're in the right action, as it were. Go back, get them, especially if you're working digitally like this, which is the whole point of these videos. Go back, cut it out, bring it, slap it down, and you know, resize it and use it as a base for whatever you're doing at the time. So as I've mentioned in one of my other videos about hacks and shortcuts, there is no right or wrong. What really matters is that from a comic strip perspective, one, you're telling a story and you're allowing the reader's imagination to fill those gaps in that you don't put everything into within your story, and making that a part of your story so that you're telling a story that flows through sequential art, okay, and then on top of that making the assets of your story, so like figures, machines, buildings, dogs, cats, planets, whatever it is, making them believable in the story environment and the style environment that you have. And what I mean by that is you don't have to draw photorealistically. In fact, personally, I would suggest that you don't want to in comic strip. There are many artists out there who are extremely good at rendering quite realistic versions of the world around us, and some of them pull it off really, really well. But I think those people that trace too much, that try and hit too realistic a finished piece, they're losing something. This isn't my personal opinion. So, for instance, people like Alex Ross, I wouldn't put in that category. I mean, you look at his artwork, it's got that sense of the real, of the believable. But if you actually have a good look at it, it's done with those broad shapes. And I think he nails it. He absolutely nails the fact that even though he's bringing a sense of realism, what I would suggest is believability, okay, to the world that he's created, within any image or within any story that he produces. There's also a style and a flow and a feel to it, which is pure comic strip, almost to an extreme. Fantastic work. So, for instance, my favourite artist, John Buscema, was a master of energy, of anatomy, but he still managed to have that comic book feel, a quintessential comic book feel, from my personal perspective. Again, you can see here, just interjecting, that there I had recent bits of artwork that I'd used and reprocessed that worked in this particular layout. So I think that's what I'm trying to get at when I look at my work, when I discuss my work, when I discuss comics, is that comics aren't there to be photorealistic. They are there to emote. They're there to tell the story, and that includes stretching and pushing the boundaries of realism, but making it so that you are completely sucked in to that world. So even with this stuff, with this Ben 10 stuff, not my kind of style. I'm more of a sort of a classic sort of Bronze Age style. That's what inspires me. But this was a job to do, and I had to get my head around the style of it, and I actually had style sheets from Cartoon Network that I had to follow and make sure that the characters looked the way that they should look. But you still have to get the movement and the energy, and of course move the story forward. As you can see with all these screens, I'm quickly nipping in and out of my commentary here. You can see where I've repurposed old bits of artwork and then put my planning in, put my sketches in, and then built them up to the final page. So you know, using those hacks, using those shortcuts. And as I'm talking, like the whole commentary about what I'm talking about here, about style and not being too realistic in the way that you produce your books, the way that you produce your art, it all comes together in that storytelling process. So hopefully I'm not rambling too much. This is all just like a stream of consciousness, really, over the top of these pages from Ben 10. But also, I think I'm trying to sort of connect the fact that even though this is a very different style from what I usually do, from what I love doing, it's all still comic strip. It's all still sequential art that tells a story, and that's all bundled in with, you know, everybody has a deadline and everybody has requirements to get their work out, whether it's to a professional deadline or to a personal deadline, and you need to be able to let yourself not cheat, but certainly find the quickest processes. And in this case, it was reusing old art, not blatantly just cutting it backwards and forwards, but chopping bits and pieces out that worked in the new layouts, and then being able to work from there. And it just sped up the process. And I'm sure that if I'd have got further, if we'd have carried on the book past issue 13, I would have been repurposing bits and pieces of previous artwork constantly. Obviously doing it in a way that people don't feel cheated and that it's not the same piece of artwork, but just, you know, being able to use that as a base, and also making sure that your characters look the same and that you've got a consistency running through your art. I think that's something else that's really important. So for instance, in this video I've spoken about deadlines and getting things right, not trying to work too realistically, having a style, having a presentation, believability in your world, all those things. But consistency is also extremely important. You know, from one panel to the next and one page to the next, in order to keep the reader in your world, you need to have that consistency so that they're not thrown out of it when a panel just doesn't work, or it doesn't make sense, doesn't drive the story forward, or just visually jars. So that's it. I think we've got to the last page here now. So I'm really pleased with this one, actually. This was issue 11. We've got 2 more issues in the series that I'll put up in video format and go through and probably ramble on about something else over the top of those ones. There you go. Once again, an example of, we can see I've reused old pieces that I'd drawn for previous issues, not in the right size, but repurposed them, put them back in, and then, you know, traced where I need to, repurpose, add, you know, make changes to positioning and stance and what have you, and then use them, and it works. So I'll be back with another one very soon. So I've got issue 12 and issue 13 to whip through, and pretty much now I've got to a point where the layers, the way that I've produced the colour artwork, the production process is pretty much it now. I got to issue 11 and that was it, and I was knocking out the 8 pages from pencil to colour pretty much in 5 or 6 days. So a very good process, very quick process, and I'd really got into a groove with that. So I'll show those other 2 videos and probably ramble about something else over the top of those. So I'll be putting out some other Marvel shorts as well soon. I do have some content from my book, Only Death Can Save Us. What I'll do is I'll pop up a quick ink here, so that if anybody does watch this video, they'll get a quick preview of one of the pages. But I will be doing more on that. Unfortunately, or fortunately really, client work has come in, so it's going to put a little bit of a pause on that, and unfortunately this is unfortunately the client work that I do is all NDA, so I can't actually show any of that yet. What I can do is keep showing more of what I have on Only Death Can Save Us. I've got some videos planned for talking about how I've written the book, character concepts, world concepts, and then actually some screen capture of some of the pencils and then the inks as well. So that will all be coming up soon on the channel. As I mentioned at the start of the video, sign up to the email subscription list. That's the best way to find out what's happening, when's happening. I won't fill up your inbox with any rubbish. It'll just be pertinent information. Or you can go find the link for that in the description for this video. Also, you can go to my website, it's russleach.com, comicbookblackbelt.com, or straight to the book website, onlydeathcansavus.com, and sign up there. Find me on Instagram, come follow me there. Just show lots of different pieces of art that I'm producing and have produced, and also on Twitter. It'd be great to see you there on Twitter, Facebook, all the normal places. Once again, a massive thank you to those subscribers who have not just to anyone that watches, obviously not just subscribers, but anyone who's left feedback. Thank you very much for that feedback. It's really helpful. Also, the kind comments about my artwork and just the conversation that we get going. It's really good. That's the whole point of the channel. Thank you for subscribing if you have subscribed. If you haven't, hit the button, hit the bell. Also, likes, shares are great because obviously gets out to different platforms as far
Thanks
as,
for watching Comic Book Black Belt. If you've enjoyed the content from this video, please like, share or subscribe, and come over and follow me on Twitter. It's been great having you in the dojo. See you again soon.
Another video again real soon. Bye bye.